Here are my 2025 NFL predictions, and we're going to get started with the AFC East. And in fourth place, I'm going to have the New York Jets. Last year was a mess for the Jets. Coach Robert Saleh was fired, and bringing in Aaron Rodgers did not fix the QB problem. With a new coach in Aaron Glenn and QB Justin Fields, the Jets do have some interesting pieces like Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. This year will be whether or not Justin Fields is a long-term option at QB. Third in the AFC East will be the Miami Dolphins, maybe a surprise to some. I have some worries about the roster. Tua has struggled to stay healthy, and the offense is not the same without him. Tyreek Hill seems to want out. Mike McDaniel is on the hot seat, and if the Dolphins finish with a losing record, I expect him to be gone after this year. And second place in a dark horse playoff team, in my opinion, is the New England Patriots. Bringing in longtime Patriot Mike Vrabel to coach is a match made in heaven, in my opinion. Stephon Diggs should help Drake May develop, along with drafting Will Campbell to protect him. The defense I expect to improve with the additions of Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, paired along with Christian Gonzalez. The Patriots, in my opinion, are a dark horse playoff team. And in first place, I have the Buffalo Bills, who I think will win the division relatively easily. Josh Allen is an MVP candidate, and James Cook makes for an elite ground game. The defense, with newcomer Joey Bosa, Ed Oliver, Gregory Rousseau, and Christian Beckford, is a solid unit. With one of the best QBs, the Bills should easily contend for the playoffs. The only question is if they can get past KC. Alright, now let's move up to the AFC North. In last place, I have the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are going with veteran Joe Flacco, but have drafted Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders to back him up. The defense, especially the D-line, should be elite with Myles Garrett and newcomer Mason Graham. However, with the exception of Jerry Jeudy, the lack of playmakers on offense will unfortunately not make up for below-average QB play, in my opinion. In third place, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers have had a weird offseason. They brought in future Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers at QB, and they even brought in DK Metcalf. The defense should be solid still with Watt, Highsmith, Porter, and new additions of Slay and Ramsey. Still, I have many questions, especially with Aaron Rodgers and the age of many of the veterans they brought in. In second place, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow should continue to show why he's one of the elite quarterbacks, along with a great receiving core with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. The defense, though, has many questions, as it did struggle last year. They thankfully have ended the Trey Hendrickson holdout, but the defense still has many questions, and the offense will likely need to pick up the defensive slack to make a deep playoff run. And in first place, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and elite O-line should make for one of the best rushing offenses. The defense, led by Roquan Smith, should be among the best. The secondary now with Hamilton, Humphrey, and Alexander will be hard for many offenses to pass on. The Ravens I expect once again to be a Super Bowl contender, and they will look to hopefully make a deep playoff run. Okay, now let's go on down to the AFC South. In last place, I have the Tennessee Titans. They had the worst record in the league last year and took Cam Ward #1 to turn things around. They even brought in veteran receivers like Lockett, Ridley, and Jefferson to help him out. The defense will be led by Jeff Simmons. Unless Cam Ward balls out, I don't see the Titans finishing any higher than possibly third. In third place, I have the Indianapolis Colts. Finding a long-term replacement for Andrew Luck has been a lot harder than expected. First-rounder Anthony Richardson has not lived up to his billing. They are now turning to Daniel Jones to be the quarterback for this team. The offense is solid with Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, Tyler Warren, and Jonathan Taylor, and the defense should improve. The season, however, will depend on the QB play, and I have no real faith in Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson. And second, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last year was a train wreck for the Jaguars, and Liam Cohen has been brought in as head coach and hopefully to make the most out of Trevor Lawrence. They made the biggest move of the draft, trading up for Travis Hunter. He and Brian Thomas Jr. make for a nice receiving core. The defense, with pieces like Travon Walker and Joshua Allen-Hines and Travis Hunter, should hopefully improve. The big question is Trevor Lawrence, on whether or not he will finally live up to the hype and potential he has. It will make or break Jacksonville. In first place, I have the Houston Texans. The Texans' offense regressed due to a poor O-line and wide receiver injuries. They hope the two Iowa State receivers they draft improve the wide receiver depth. The O-line is still a question mark, especially with no Tunsil and Joe Mixon likely being out long-term. The defense is turning into one of the best in the league, with Derek Stingley controlling the secondary and Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson making for a scary D-line. Stroud is more like his rookie self. The Texans should once again compete for the playoffs. Alright, now let's head over west to the AFC West. In last place, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. They brought in Pete Carroll to coach the team. The Raiders' offense was terrible with the exception of Brock Bowers. They have a new QB in Geno Smith and brought back Amari Cooper. Ashton Gentry should improve the running game. And new OC Chip Kelly, I think, is an interesting hire to improve the offense. Max Crosby, I will expect to carry the defense. And in a tough division and a lackluster defense with the exception of Crosby, I think it could be challenging for the Raiders. In third place, I have the Denver Broncos. The Broncos finally ended the playoff drought and may have finally found their franchise QB in Bo Nix. The defense should be one of the best in the league, especially with Surtain and Barron in the secondary. My real question is the offense, especially with the lack of playmakers on offense besides Cortland Sutton. If the defense isn't as good as I think it'd be, I think the Broncos could finish as high as second, or possibly first maybe. Finishing second in the AFC West will be the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers look to build off a solid year last year. Jim Harbaugh wants to build in the trenches, and Omari and Hampton will be part of that. The defense, which performed very well last year, finishing first, I expect to continue to be elite. Still, with the exception of Ladd McConkey and an old Keenan Allen, the receiving room does leave a lot to be desired. The Rashawn Slater injury also does have me a little bit worried for the offensive line. Still, I do like the Chargers roster, and I hope to see Justin Herbert finally get a playoff win. And in first place, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. They look to continue their dominant stretch that's been the last 5 years. All the Chiefs need to succeed is Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. The defense, led by Steve Spagnuolo, is a hardy run crew that will smother opposing offense. The Rashid Rice suspension does have me concerned for the offense, and Travis Kelce, who will be 36 in October. Congrats on getting engaged to Taylor Swift. Still, I think the Chiefs are a playoff team, and as long as they have Mahomes and Reid, they should be fine. Okay, now that we're done with the AFC, let's talk about the seeding. The number 1 seed in the AFC will be the Buffalo Bills. The number 2 seed will be the Baltimore Ravens. The number 3 seed will be the Kansas City Chiefs. The number 4 seed will be the Houston Texans, and your wildcard teams will be the number 5 team, Los Angeles Chargers, the number 6 team, Cincinnati Bengals, and the number 7 team, the New England Patriots. Alright, we're now done with the AFC. Let's go to the NFC, and we're going to start with the NFC East. In 4th place will be the New York Giants. The Daniel Jones era is over, and to improve the QB play, they brought in veteran Russell Wilson and drafted Jackson Dart. The defense should improve, especially with Abdul Carr to go along with Dexter Lawrence. It will depend on the QB play for either Wilson or Dart, but I do expect the Giants to improve from where they were last year. In 3rd place, I have the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys hope with a healthier Dak Prescott that they can fix some of the problems. George Pickens was brought in to pair up with CeeDee Lamb to improve the wide receiver room. Still, the running back room is questionable, and the defense has a lot of question marks, especially with Micah Parsons currently holding out. I have a lot of concerns and questions about this roster. Up next, the Washington Commanders. They had a great rookie year with Jaden Daniels making it to the NFC Championship and then brought in many reliable veterans to support him on offense, like Deebo Samuel and Laramie Tunsil. Can Jaden Daniels avoid a sophomore slump and the defense improve from the middle of the pack? Last year will help the Commanders go a lot further. And first, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles blew out KC to take home the Super Bowl, and they look to repeat. An offensive Hurts, Barkley, Brown, and Smith behind the best offensive line in football will be one of the top in the league. The defense did lose a few pieces. I still think they will do a solid job, and Zach Braun coming back is huge. I think the Eagles have a very good chance to possibly repeat as Super Bowl champions. Okay, let's head up north now to the NFC North, and in 4th place will be the Chicago Bears. The Bears have brought in Ben Johnson to help develop Caleb Williams, and have started by improving the offensive line by bringing in Joe Thuney. The defense is a nice mixture of veterans and young guys. Braun will be a tough division, and the play of Caleb Williams will dictate how much the Bears improve this year. In 3rd place, I have the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings shocked many, winning 14 games with Sam Darnold, and Kevin O'Connell took home Coach of the Year. They're returning to former first-rounder J.J. McCarthy, who will dictate how the season is for Minnesota. He does have a solid roster with him, especially on offense with Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson. They even brought back an old face in Adam Thielen. The defense is also very solid, but it all depends on the play of JJ McCarthy. And second will be the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love has proven to be a solid Aaron Rodgers replacement, and Matthew Golden I think will have an immediate impact on the roster, and Josh Jacobs makes for a great run game. The defense, which finished top 10 in the league, hopes to continue that pace. And in 1st place, I have the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions had a great regular season, but disappointing in the postseason due to defensive injuries. Unfortunately, they lost coordinators Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, and that has me worried. Still, the roster is still good, especially on offense loaded at most positions. The defense I think will also be solid, especially with Aiden Hutchinson back. Though losing both their coordinators does have me concerned for Detroit. Now let's head on down south, and we're going to talk about the NFC South. In 4th, and my pick to finish with the worst record in the NFL is going to be the New Orleans Saints. Despite drafting Tyler Stout, they're going with Spencer Rattler, neither of which I do believe are long-term options. Both sides of the ball are pretty lackluster, save for a few positions, and that's why I think the Saints are going to finish towards the bottom this year. And 3rd is the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers hope that Bryce Young will continue his growth from last year. Drafting McMillan should help out. Still, the O-line is not great, and the defense, with the exception of Derek Brown and J.C. Horn, is below average. If Bryce plays well, they could maybe finish higher. And second, I have the Atlanta Falcons. It's all about Michael Penix and how he does. Bijan Robinson, I think, will have a solid year, and maybe this will finally be the year of Kyle Pitts. Draft picks James Pierce and Jalen Smith should hopefully improve the subpar defense. The play of Michael Penix is what's going to matter most for Atlanta. In 1st place, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield has revived his career there. Mike Evans is still as reliable as it comes. Chris Godwin, when healthy, is amazing. And Miku Baba is a great addition to already a great core. The offense has potential to be one of the best in the league. The defense also has solid paces like Levante David, Vita Vea, and Antoine Winfield to hold down the fort. And finally, let's head out west to the NFC West. And last I have the Arizona Cardinals, who I think could maybe finish higher. Kyler and Marvin Harrison have tons of potential. The defense has brought in Will Johnson and Walter Nolan at the draft to go along with Josh Sweat and Calais Campbell as reliable veterans. It does depend mainly on the play of Kyler Murray, though. And 3rd, I have the Seattle Seahawks. I went back and forth on where I should place the Seahawks. They brought in Sam Darnold to be the QB of the future and added Cooper Kupp to pair with JSN. Devin Witherspoon is an elite corner. My question is Sam Darnold and how will he play, and if he'll be more like the one we saw before the final 2 games of the year. In second, I have the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners struggled with injuries and were forced to let many of their players walk due to cap constraints. Still, I think the team, when healthy, they have a solid roster. Purdy, CMC, and Kittle make for a nice triplet set. The injury to Brandon Ayuk does have me worried though. The defense still has Bosa and Warner, and bringing back Robert Saleh I think should improve it. It depends on the injuries if the Niners can improve from last year. And in first place I have the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams had a solid season last year. They added Devontae Adams to go with Puka Nacua. Jared Verse should continue his elite emergence. The concern is Matthew Stafford and his back injuries coming up. Especially at his age, it makes me worry. However, I think if Stafford is healthy, I think the Rams can finish first place. Now for NFC seeding. Your number 1 seed will be the Philadelphia Eagles, number 2 the LA Rams, number 3 the Detroit Lions, 4th the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Your wildcard teams will be number 5 Washington Commanders, number 6 the San Francisco 49ers, and 6th the Seattle Seahawks. Now let's go to the awards. The Coach of the Year, I think, will be Mike Vrabel. Comeback Player of the Year, I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey. Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to be Travis Hunter. Thought let's have a little bit of fun there. Defensive Player of the Year, I think, will be Will Anderson Jr. Offensive Player of the Year, I'm going to go with Puka Nacua. And MVP will be Joe Burrow. My Super Bowl prediction, I think it'll be the Ravens defeating the Rams. Still, it's hard to predict how this season will go. And let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and you have yourself a good day.